All right. Welcome to the Gamer Librarian Podcast, episode 111. We've made it to the same number as the Fallout 4 Vault, and that has a 10th anniversary collection that people saying are hit or miss. It's not the game that they wanted remastered or remembered for Fallout, which is fine. I mean, Fallout 4 was okay. It's not the best, right? But, you know, here we are. I am your host, Adrian, and we have a good amount of things to talk about. A good amount. The audio should be decently good. We do what we can here. And before we get into video game news, anything else like that, my PS5 is in the repair shop. We finally got that in there. It was going through an issue with a power issue, I believe, where it would turn off within every hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, of game time. And that was pretty annoying. And so we're finally getting that done. And there has been a PlayStation showcase, which, you know, for everything that was shown off there, decent. Surprising that we got a Elden Ring Night Rain DLC announcement. And this might be the first DLC, which is what they're maybe calling it. Some of the articles say it's their first. Hard to say. But two new classes, at least two new bosses, and then there is at least a new, what do they call it? The Shifting Earth. New Shifting Earth. That's all cool. And hopefully we get our PS5 set up so we can play that because I really enjoyed Night Rain. If there would be a game of the year game for, you know, not Expedition 33, in my opinion, would be Night Rain. This way, it's not necessarily a sequel, but it's a game in the Dark Souls world that is decent in its, overall landscape. I think now, maybe with the DLC and the single duo 3-player type vibe. I still wish it was 4, right? 4 make it, that much better. And Call of Duty 7, Black Ops 7, Call of Duty Black Ops 7. We haven't really played a lot of Call of Duty lately. We might have played a little bit of zombies here and there, downloaded it from Game Pass. But from what I've seen from this new one, whoo, whoo. And maybe it's a decent experience with its multiplayer and its, what is it? Their Battle Royale. But for zombies, I'm not a big fan of what they're doing with that. And then single player campaign, I mean, seeing what they had at the end, I mean, it was spoiled. Ooh, I'm not really gonna play that. I liked Black Ops. I really still enjoyed Modern Warfare 3, Advanced Warfare. The Modern Warfares were like the best. Those were the best campaigns, and they seem to be continue doing that. It's a lot. So who knows what's gonna happen with Black Ops nowadays. Now, there has been a Monster Hunter Secret Lair announcement for Magic the Gathering, which is just another video game crossover for Magic the Gathering. That's pretty cool. And for video game news, that's relatively it. That's not a whole lot coming up. We have Game Awards coming around the corner. I believe nominees are happening still sometime this November, this month. And yeah, we're really just waiting on them. And games have been slow, right? No PS5. Been trying to play what we can, and that has been a few mods and ROMs of games. I think that this is a side of gaming that is so beloved and pinnacle that it's something that, with the announcement of um, Steam machine, Steam box, Steam Cube, right? Their Steam console, alongside with their already pretty popular Steam Deck, and it's coming with VR. I think that's pretty cool. That is a pretty cool addition to the video game landscape, and having the ability to mod, add to your video games, I think that is just one of the best ways that you can experience a video game, especially in a way for games that are 10, 15, 20 years old. That's that's crazy. So, for me to be able to experience something like The Simpsons Hit and Run again in the style of Futurama, which I was much more of a Simpsons fan than a Futurama fan, but I still like the sci-fi futuristic nonsense of it. Fun. Very fun. Only about one level for the version I played. Still has like that jank for that old 2000 style video game, which is pretty sick. Now, Pokemon though is special because it's crazy that there is a scene of people out there continuing old style Pokemon games with adding so many beloved and wanted modern configurations in the retro style, which is awesome. Super, super sick. I really love that. So shout out to these mods and ROMs, very fun playing them on and off. It's just cool to see that with these consoles. And right before, around Fallout 4, right? Give credit to Fallout 4 because it was kind of one of the first games that really did it, and that was integrating mods onto the console. Love that. Love to see that. And Steam's just, making that easier for everyone, depending on price and all that stuff. But I'm really excited, really, really excited to see where these mods go in terms of preserving that experience, because at least with Pokemon, right, the license for the Simpsons video games and old games like that, lost to time. Very hard to replicate for the most part. But it's still a fun experience when you can just download a game that's not even supported, play it, and then be like, that was really fun. Wish I was around, 100 years from now, it's going to be like, all right, well, who knows? Hard to say. Hard to say. Pokemon's fun though. And for that experience to still be replicated only by fans and not by the largest media franchise is horrendous. It's insane. Now, a smaller dose, right? Might be a shorter episode here, is manga, right? No One Piece, which is pretty sad, but there's Jujutsu Kaisen Medulla, right? We read chapter 11. Pretty cool to see that the alien tensions are ramping up with the idea of their technology and that the cosmic energy stuff becoming a big play here early on, especially. I'm interested to see where this goes and how it develops. It's still in that early, like, goofy kind of, right, like establishing vibe, which some mangas do. But maybe with this sequel, it might turn some courses early on, right? So chapter 11, who could say? And we do have Chainsaw Man 220 and Dan the Dan 217. That's about the only new chapters that we have. Didn't read those. Didn't get a chance to, but we will. It's just hard to keep track of when they come out. I don't really get all these updates and everything like that. Now, TV shows. TV shows is pretty sick. We started Black Rabbit, which is on Netflix. It has Jason Bateman in it. Very similar to Ozark. It just has very similar Ozark vibes, which is not a bad thing, but it's just like Jason Bateman's in a different kind of role here. He has a different, like, more actiony role, which is very different from what I've seen him do anything in. That's about the only real difference. But if you like Ozark, Black Rabbit's your shit. And I've been talking about Ozark forever. I like him. Welcome to Derry, episode 4 is a slow roll, right? There's a little bit of, spooky scare there, but now we're getting into I mean, some things are now being really added to it that are kind of being like, okay, the continuity is getting a little larger than the scope was led to believe, in a way, right? Not cosmically, but just like on Earth and the addition of the military looking for it and the history of who's been fighting it, like the Indians, right? Not going to say what, but as far as I can remember, this is not necessarily, you know, the same kind of scope of like, oh, who really knew anything about what's happening in Derry? It just been what we knew before. But cool overall, right? For episode 4, who can say? I would be surprised if there's a season 3, right? I could maybe take some kind of idea of a season 2 coming, but like a season 3 would be like, all right, how long is this going to really take? I don't really see this being their Stranger Things, right? And that has a season 5. We haven't watched that yet. I don't really care about it, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. TV shows. Dan the Dan has it's season 2. We're slowly getting through that. And for a movie, right? This is a big one. We were very surprised to see Predator Badlands. I mean, I'm not the biggest Predator fan, but compared to all the other Predator movies, this one was insane. It was awesome. There has been such a beloved treatment to Predator and this kind of like world expansion, which is really cool. Now, what does that mean for Predator? I think that this is probably confirmed. We're going to get an Alien versus Predator, you know, something. This is not already in the works. But what I think we can learn from here is Alien Earth could really do something with these synth stuff in terms of their show. And I think that's going to be awesome. Hopefully, that's better for some of the aliens that we've already seen in the show. Obviously, aliens going to be front and center, but season 2, maybe we even have like a Predator tease or something because there was alien reference here, and I'm more of an alien fan. So this is really sick to me. It was just like if Wayland Yutani wasn't necessarily already put in the trailer, I wouldn't have um already seen it so soon. I would have been like, it's just the Predator movie, right? It was just like I don't necessarily care. But I had to come and see it for Wayland Yutani, and it delivered. It was awesome. It was awesome. Now, my favorite Predator movie is with Adrian Brody, Predators, right? I like that one. That one's awesome. And yeah, that's relatively it, because there's no new games here to really talk about or no new announcements. So that's relatively a shorter episode, right? We go for however long just here talking, right? It's been pretty cool, pretty cool. And for our articles, right? We've been using this for the end, right? The Death Stranding 2 exoskeleton. I think that's really goofy. The Death Stranding 2 exoskeleton is that's a real thing. And then we didn't mention it before, but Alien Earth was renewed for season 2, right? Completely forgot about that. But wow, I'm excited for. Obviously, it was leading into it in some way. Was surprised that like it's weird how that works if it's like leading into more, but then it's never greenlit for more, right? Like I always say, things are never really expected to go beyond what they were. This is things like Halo 1, the first one, Gears, right? Maybe even like Kingdom Hearts 1. It's definitely all kinds of wonky nonsense. And yeah, there was the Sony State of Play. Everything was relatively, bland about that. But yeah, overall, I'm gonna be waiting for my PS5 to get back, and hopefully we get it in time for the Night Rain DLC update. That's what I'm looking forward to. Really, that's what I'm really, really excited for. So, really, until then, that's really the only really game I'm looking forward to until we do the Metal Gear 3 finished until whenever that is. But that's also on the PS5. So, RIP, big, big RIP. Anyway, peace. Oh, yep, peace.